My fellow Americans, in 1959, when Castro took power, Cubans believed that because they lived on an island 90 miles off the US coastline, it was some kind of guarantee that Castro could never create a communist regime, especially during the Cold War. Cubans were sure that the United States of America will not allow such a thing to happen. The vast majority of the Cuban people were suffering from what we call the Titanic syndrome. In 1999, when Chavez took power in Venezuela, the vast majority of the Venezuelan people were also suffering from the Titanic syndrome. Venezuelans believe that being the fifth largest oil producers in the world made it impossible for Chavez to install a communist regime in Venezuela. They were sure that the United States of America will not allow such a thing. Both Cubans and Venezuelans placed their faith in the United States of America and the American people. But now, in 2012, the sad truth is that the vast majority of the American people themselves are suffering from the Titanic syndrome. Most Americans do not understand that they have been supporting communist ideas and programs, and that these programs are the cause of our economy disaster. Many Americans blame almost anything else, and they're too far off to understand. They too feel it will be impossible for our country to fall to the trap of communism. But what if we are wrong? Who will save us from falling? The answer to that question is very simple. We the people. However, in order for us, the people, to have a chance to win, we will first have to know the enemy and his new strategies. So far, we the people have no idea of what we are facing. We are great baseball players, but our enemies are not playing baseball. They're playing cricket. It might look like baseball, but it is a totally different ballgame. Our enemies know exactly what they are doing. We do not. And that's why we are losing the United States of America. American people are just as lost as the Cubans and the Venezuelans were when their time came to confront communism. They didn't know where to start, just as we do not know where to start. We are shooting our shotguns to the air, hoping to hit some dogs, but there are no dogs flying around. Communism has suffered a great mutation. They are now progressive, non-violent, and they take over power through elections, only to establish a dictator, a constitutional dictatorship. Before we know it, we will have a new constitution, and from there on, the road to freedom will really be uphill. They have asked me to warn you today about the danger of this new phase of communism, and they gave me less than 10 minutes to do so. I believe that 10 minutes are more than enough to warn you, but you must listen very carefully. I have survived communism twice, and I will do everything in my power to prevent you and me from falling into that hell a third time. This is why I accepted this task today. This is why I have been traveling the United States since I came here in 2004 to warn the American people about communism and its new tactics. Even though we might not know it yet, we are fighting a different war. Our guns, our military experience fighting other wars would not do us any good. If we think that we will win by learning as we go along, we are completely wrong. Our enemy has decades of experience in taking over countries with a strategy totally unknown to us. Right now, we must begin to resist and fight effectively. We must stop losing one battle after another. We have been losing battles since an enemy took hold of our country in 2008. If you think that we can vote out this powerful enemy next November through an electoral process, you are once again very wrong. No matter what they tell you, we will never win an electoral war against this new type of communism. The American electoral system is one of the weakest systems in the world. In fact, it may be the weakest. Our electoral system has been set up to rig elections. If we keep on using these new electronic voting machines, controlled by the new establishment, we won't have a chance. You may call them rhinos and other names, but if you look around, you will see many leaders from our side suspiciously acting as enemies of the left. But in fact, they never seem to make progress against the left. In Latin America, they call them co-suckers because they suck together with the regime from the same breast. They're very, very dangerous. By the time we expose them, it will be too late. You might not know it yet, but we have been sleeping with the enemy for a long, long time. Co-suckers will make you believe that we can beat the enemy by pushing a button from an electronic voting machine. Let me assure you, it will take much more than that. This new type of communist knows how to corrupt. Now in power, they can systematically hurt our economy to make our society more dependable on the state. By increasing the size of the federal government, they hire more and more workers who will be willing or pressure to vote for them. They will cover every possibility of winning, both legally or illegally. Their only goal is to stay in power eternally. If you think that in the worst scenario, this nightmare will be over by the year 2016, you will be wrong again. It won't be long before we, the people, have a brand new constitution, and that will be when the real change takes place. We, the people, will be taken to the electronic voting machines once again to vote for or against this new constitution, and guess what the result will be? Only God is more powerful than people resisting together for freedom. We have to learn how to get organized, work together, and resist. Thank you. We must begin this process of learning today without delay. This plan has worked before. These tactics are proven. It is up to you. It is up to us. It is up to we, the people. Freedom is not free. We have to be willing to pay its high price or get used to it without it. Thank you very much, and God bless America.